Hey guys, thank you so much for watching today. Welcome to another behind glass aquarium simulator video. This is a little game that is in early access, beta. I think it's just considered early access. It is available on Steam for purchase. If you did miss it, we already took a first look at it, just kind of messing around, and then also built an angelfish tank. So what we're doing today is we are jumping in and taking a look at the saltwater side of things. In the last two videos when we covered this game, I was just looking at the freshwater aspect and all the decorations that go with that, so I decided that we should jump in and take a look at what the saltwater decorations and what the saltwater fish look like. Now, complete full disclaimer, I have no knowledge, like next to zero knowledge, about taking care of a saltwater tank. I have had aquariums in the past, but all have been either just like freshwater with fake plants or freshwater with real planted plants, but 100% have always been fresh water. So I have no idea on the different kinds of corals, different kinds of plants, or even the different kinds of fish. And to be honest, when I put the fish in here, I already know I put way too many of them because I just got excited. They're all so colorful and so pretty to look at. I just wanted to put as many fish as I could possibly fit in this aquarium. But two, I'm pretty sure that I put fish that don't get along with one another, because as I was watching the tank when I was done building, they kind of chased each other around, and I don't know if that was just some of the fish were bugging out and glitching, or if it is part of the mechanics, because I believe this game, the developers are looking at potentially putting management as a part of the game, so it might just be a start to that, is if you put fish in that don't get along with one another, they're just going to chase each other around and fight like they would in, you know, a real life tank. But yeah, so if you see that in the very end little cinematic shot of the tank, some of them were chasing each other around, and like quite violently too, like really quickly. But that aside, I'm really happy with how this tank came out. Again, if you missed the first couple videos, this is a really relaxing game to play. It really only takes about 20, maybe 30 minutes to build a tank. I think this one took me a little bit on the longer side, just because I placed all of these corals and rocks like in particular locations. Not quite as easy as like with a freshwater tank, you know, you can kind of just place the plants here and there. I'm really trying hard to make sure the corals aren't clipping too badly with the rock, but they're looking like they're growing on top of them, that kind of stuff, and making sure that they're not really clipping into one another, because that's not necessarily something that they would do in real life. I do, however, love the fact that they really don't have hitboxes around them, and you can place the rocks, the coral, all the plants like directly inside of one another, and you don't have to worry about giving each one space. It makes for a much more pleasant building experience, in my opinion. But here we're just going to decorate this center rock formation with as many corals as I could possibly fit in. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to go through and just pick a lot of different colors and really keep it bright and really colorful. I wanted this to kind of be like an island tank where there is kind of this mound in the center, right? I changed the ground to complete sand because I felt like it fit the saltwater theme or saltwater tanks that I've seen in the past a little bit better, without any gravel or rock in the bottom. Then I placed down the big like supportive rocks, and now I'm just kind of decorating those rocks with the coral. But I basically wanted the centerpiece to be in the center of the tank so that the fish can swim around the border of it, or the perimeter of it. And that's kind of how I wanted the style of the tank to go. There are a lot of different types of corals. I was actually pleasantly surprised with how many varieties there are, and when you click on certain ones, not only are there different formations, but different colors as well. So it makes it really easy to build the tank, make it look pretty, and not have it be super, super repetitive. Again, I have no idea what kinds of corals these are, if they would all work well together, if they would even work well with the fish in the tank, but I think they look pretty, so that's what we're going with. I didn't realize until I go on to the next tab that there's also an anemone like paintbrush tool, which I probably would have utilized a little bit more, because as I was building, the thought popped into my mind that the tank was pretty still. There wasn't a whole lot of movement, and when I think of like things like coral reefs out in the ocean, I think of a lot of movement, because there's always little anemone, swaying back and forth with the current. There's fish swimming around, and of course adding the fish will help with the movement of this tank. But none of the corals that I was placing down had any sort of movement to them, except for that yellow one in the front. But here you can see I've now found the paintbrush with all sorts of different types of anemones, and you can just click on the rocks or the ground, to be fair, but they are going to be growing off of rocks in this tank. So clicking around on the rocks and having them kind of grow and move really adds a dynamic to the tank, I think. I play around here with a couple of the other brushes, like with some seaweed and some rocks and stuff, because I was trying to add a little more greenery and a little more movement, because the seaweed does move. But in the end, again, I just prefer to leave it kind of like an island. I really liked the contrast between like just really plain bright sand. In fact, I even had to turn the lighting down just a little bit, because it was like so bright I couldn't even see any detail on the sand, because it's such a bright tank. But I liked the contrast of the plain bright sand to all the colorful movement on this centerpiece, this coral centerpiece here. But yeah, we're just going to go ahead and throw one shell in here just for decoration, and then we're going to get to the fish. And that was my favorite part. Again, I just really got excited, and I kind of put anything and everything in there that was bright and colorful. Oh, and of course, adding a couple bubbles. The bubbles in the tank add some sound, but also, again, some more movement. So I added one on either side of the tank, just so that there are some bubbles coming up from the ground. You can see here, I'm going to play with the little rocks. I thought they looked cool because they're kind of like mixed color rocks, and you can change the density, which makes it really easy to put random scattered rocks. But again, I just really like that plain sand look. So all of our decorations here disappear for just a minute, and I'm going to go ahead and add a bunch of fish. The first ones that I add are saltwater fish that I am really familiar with, and then you can see I got rid of the blue tang and made them much smaller because they were massive in this tank. But I add the blue tang, the yellow tang, the clownfish, all of which are from Finding Nemo. Those are the saltwater fish I am most familiar with. And now I'm just going through and adding a bunch of really colorful fish. Those little gobies I have seen before as well. And when I've seen them, they kind of swim in and out like between the coral and stuff. So again, I'm adding way too many fish, but they're also bright and colorful, and they all look fantastic. I didn't really like the purple on that one, so I got rid of it. But yeah, we are almost done. So if you guys did make it to the end of the video, if you did enjoy, leaving a like down on the video really does help me out, and I greatly do appreciate it. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you're interested in seeing any more of this content and any other game we cover here on the channel. And until next time, I will talk at you in the next video. Bye!